but it's those moments that, I mean, when Harry says with face, it's I mean, we're all there with capturing images, but every once in a while, you know when you capture something special, and usually it's something that happens in the face. I mean, you know, of course you know, frame up great landscapes and great sunsets. Yeah, everything in the face. But you know, when you are put in a situation, and that of course comes from the content and from the story and from the actors, and we're there. We have to be lucky in a way to capture those moments, and you know, when you do capture them, you know it. You know, you just found. It's not you created. You didn't create it. You know, you found something special, and that's what's inspirational. That you know, it happens sometimes. If you're lucky, it happens. You know, many times in one film, and sometimes it can't. It doesn't happen the whole film, and you become uninspired, and you don't want to necessarily do your job anymore. But you know, when you do something like in Nebraska, we just would frame Bruce, and you know, you have that face, and he would do little subtle things that. And you know, I got something, or you know, when Joaquin Phoenix is on stage and he's like his intensity, and you just know where to put the camera. It doesn't even. It's not. You're not designing even a shot anymore. You just get there, and catch it. You know, it's like you don't have to tell anyone how to set up a shot. You know, like it just. You know, anyway, that's and a good operator. Going back to the operator thing, is a guy who doesn't miss those beats, you know, and can, you know, feel on his own, and it's not about technical and mechanical perfection or execution or how he pans or tilts somebody, you know. It's like finding and seeing and feeling those moments, and you know, so.
Yeah, for me, inspiration is observation. First line. I mean. That I like the director and the script, and it's self-evident in a way. Otherwise, I have the luxury today to say no, because I know before that it will be no inspiration. So it comes from observation. I love to observe even a face from a landscape, and there are some magic moments. I think we all know that, and if you're able to catch them, it's a paradoxon to say I'm a hunter and you have to be sensitive, but it's true. If you catch the soul of a situation or a moment, but it's more than it's that old question: can we depict only flesh or the soul? And from I think that polarity is for me the source of inspiration. And I don't have any receipt. And it's rare that it works for myself. Very often you have applause from the wrong side. They think it's for myself. And the opposite.
Well, and the eyes are the wisdom of the soul.
But we are all. We agree that it's not a technical question, because I have so many, especially with students, they always still think the tool gives any answers.
So the last thing you should think about, I believe, you've got a lot of questions to ask yourself about how you're going to interpret a story before you get to the tools you need. And I think I think Ansel Adams in a way sums it up many years ago, when he said, when you look at a landscape and you're about to take a photograph, or whatever it is you're going to photograph, before you even start thinking about where the camera goes, how you're going to expose it, what the light should be, you must imagine what you want to create. Yes. And I think that is, again, it goes beyond format, tools, stories. And it should be the first thing in our minds as cinematographers.
Yeah, and when we read a script, I mean, that's the first indication. I mean, we start with the script, and when we're given the script and we read it, I mean, some some scripts you read, or at least I'm able to envision the whole film like I'm watching a movie while I'm reading it, and it's edited and mixed and it's music and if you can do that, then you know you have that. And then the next criterion is the director. You know who's going to direct it, and sometimes there'll be a script that you like, but you know that choice of director, you're not probably going to achieve that thing that you imagined when you read it. So, ideally, you have the material and then the director and then the cast. Often, when I read a script, the next thing I do, I ask them who they plan on casting, and I've passed on movies because I didn't think that actor would really, because it's my interpretation or how I imagine the film, and I think it can't be accomplished with that, or it wouldn't really find what I was looking for, and then I would not do it, like you said, and luckily like you
read. It always stays risky.
Yeah, and you never know. I mean, you never know, but that's your best bet going in with a script that you like and you can see, and then the movie happens again newer. The movie gets created 3 times really, or some people say 4, but in the writing and then in the filmmaking, the capturing of it, it sort of becomes a new entity, a new animal. And then in the editing, it becomes something new again. So those are and everything. It's this dynamic between all these elements that has to be, and nobody can control it. You can cast just like a basketball team. You can pick all the best players and assemble an all-star team, and the chemistry is not there, and it doesn't work. They don't play. So you have to get lucky and have the right chemistry of all the elements, the visuals and the performances.
I want to compare it with music, and there's a nice word which is you are in the groove. I think that is exactly what you meant. And this you cannot organize it. You can have the best crew members, and you are not in the groove.
More often than not, we see great filmmakers and great directors of photography collaborate again and again. Wally Pfister and Christopher Nolan, Kaminsky and Spielberg, and of course Michael Haneke, Kenneth Branagh, and Alexander Payne. What would you say is a key component to the relationship between a director of photography and a director to succeed?
Again, very often we are named for the director, like Sven Nykvist and Ingrid Bergman, for example. And it is a kind of couple life. And it works a certain time, or it works very long, or I remember I was shocked when I saw the first Bergman films after Nykvist and in color, and suddenly it was so recorded theater. So I think this is really a...
Yeah, it's like a marriage. I mean, it's like a marriage, and like you said, I mean, sometimes it works. I mean, Bertolucci and Storaro had such a great run, and then, and now they hate each other. Yeah, I mean, I'm being dramatic, no, but like I went to a lecture. Bertolucci came. They showed a restored print of Novecento, and then Storaro. It was a restored print, and Storaro spoke first and said, the importance of my images and this and that, and went on, and like how he spent years and years restoring it, and then. Bertolucci came up and goes, as far as I'm concerned, all my own movies can go in the garbage can. I'm not interested, I'm looking for, simplicity and this and that. And, so, but there's a, again, like that chemistry I talk about,
like
it's
position. Yes. It is true.
And,
Bertolucci's.
but you find a way where you enjoy it. I mean, hopefully, you know, it's somebody you're trying to make the same movie. I mean, in my case, even with Alexander, we're not similar. You don't have to be similar. I mean, we don't have similar aesthetics. I have completely different aesthetics than Alexander, and it's a struggle at times. And then you know, and you find a way where you maximize each other's talents and you complement each other. You know, I bring something to him he doesn't really necessarily know. Other directors are very precise. And you agree completely, and then you do it. You know, it's a different process. You're both trying to compose the same way. You have it like with Vendors. When I did $1 Million Hotel, I thought, oh great, finally I'm going to work with a director who's going to tell me how to photograph. Because you know, I grew up watching his movies, and I was very influenced by them. And 2 days before the shoot, we were driving to the set, and he's in the car. We're driving to downtown LA to the hotel, and he goes, "I have no idea how we're going to shoot this movie." He had no idea, you know. And I go, "Well, don't worry, you know, we'll figure it out." And we just started shooting, and he never gave me any input. But the movie looks like a Vendors movie, you know. You know, you just sort of feel it, but it's that, you know, you know,
Yeah.
it's just like in a relationship.
Well, I think one thing is that the friendship is a work relationship, and I think that's one thing that is often mistaken.
Yeah.
I love Kenneth and working with him, and he is my friend, but we do not socialize. It's not, we get together to make these films sometimes when it works out, and it's about the work. It's about kind of having a common way of working and an understanding for filmmaking that is shared, and that's where it should be. And I think in terms of a lesson for all of this, I think many people believe that this whole idea of socializing and networking gets you a job. I think that's utter horsecrap. You know, I've gotten hired because someone's seen a film. Yes, someone's seen a film and they saw a common aesthetic. You have a meeting, and you get on with the work. So I think for people to kind of get on in life as cinematographers, they have to just forget that idea. That does not exist. Relationships and in terms of work are friendships on set, and that's how they should be.
Yeah, and the other problem is, I mean, often the reason I work with the same directors again and again is because I know what I get. You know, I know what it's going to be, and when we meet a director, a new director, you know, you have 1 hour. You have lunch, if you're lucky, or you meet in an office, and you spend 1 hour where he interviews you, you interview him. And it's almost impossible to tell. I mean, they can say all the right things, they can say what you want to hear, they can be very passionate about that, and then on set they're a completely different person, you know. So and so it's basically, I mean, it's very difficult, you know, because next thing you know, you're 4 or 5 months on a project, and you know, wasting perhaps your time. So for me, it's safer to go with somebody I worked with.
Thank you.
I was wondering, since it is a work relationship, if it's a habit in the States or where, in other countries, to visit each other's sets. Like you are planning to work with a director, and if you have a chance to go to a set where he's shooting, or a cinematographer.
You can't really do.
Or as a director to
I
go.
mean, directors visit sometimes other director friends. But you know, they just come for lunch and maybe stay a couple setups. I mean, we had people come by, Alexander's friends who we went to school with from UCLA, and actually then we give him a shot, or like if Harris came, I would give him like a guest operator shot and stuff. Like we've done that. When Morrow came on Nebraska and he shot something, and then Brad Sibylin came and we sent him out with a camera to shoot some landscapes.
I meant if a director would come to your set to see you
really.
At work,
And
let's say, to
directors
meet
don't
you.
really like other directors coming by.